So moving to the special meeting, I'm going to call the meeting to order for Friday, March 22nd, 2024. Little brief statement I want to put out. Today's meeting is not to pass judgment or make a decision on the validity of the subject matter. We do not have the direct insight, knowledge, or information to make that call. We are here to get the report from our HR director and vote on the recommendation action provided, which is an investigation of the allegations. Marie, do we have any scheduled persons to address the board? Okay. Moving on to the chairman's report, which is the main topic of the meeting. I received a notice from our Human Resources Director, LaQuanda, regarding complaints grievances received, noting that it is the responsibility and duty of the HR Director to report a grievance complaint to their supervisor. In this case, it's the board. Once the complaint grievance was passed on to me by the HR Director, I have a duty and obligation to report that onto the board, and the only way I can do that is through a public meeting to be under sunshine. So LaQuanda, will you present the information to the board?
Testing. On March 19th, I received a grievance from an employee alleging that the superintendent, Dr. Rodolfich, had created a toxic and hostile work environment. The complaint stems from over a year of interactions with the superintendent. According to the complaint, all staff members have been named as witnesses. Additionally, I received a statement regarding an incident on March 18th, 2024 at 8 a.m. in which Dr. Rodolfich yelled at an employee and pounded on the table. It was referred to as demoralizing and embarrassing. Upon receipt, the board chairman, Danny Gill, was notified of the grievance. It was determined that an investigation should be conducted to determine if Dr. Rodolfich engaged in harassment and/or discriminatory conduct that unreasonably interfered with an individual's performance of professional or work responsibilities, or with the process of education, or which created a hostile, intimidating, abusive, offensive, or oppressive environment, or engage in conduct that did not protect individuals from harassment or discrimination. Additionally, to determine if Dr. Rodolfich violated Section 6A-10.081, 2C4 of the Florida Administrative Code. Regarding hostility, the legal standard generally adheres to delineating a supervisor's actions, communication, or behavior, or responsible expectations of a comfortable work environment for employees. Based on the grievance, Dr. Rodolfich has allegedly created a culture of fear, mistrust, and toxicity. It was also reported that Dr. Rodolfich has discriminated against and singled out an employee due to my race, in quotes. Under Title VII, a hostile work environment exists when the workplace is permeated with discriminatory intimidation, ridicule, and insult that is sufficiently severe or pervasive to alter the conditions of the victim's employment and create an abusive work environment. To that end, I recommend that an external employment law firm be retained and an investigation be conducted to substantiate the claims.
Is that the end of your report? Thank you, ma'am. Trustees, as I stated at the beginning, we are in no position here to make any confirmations or validities of any of this information. I want to make sure that we keep ourselves unbiased, impartial, and we make sure that we make no judgment on any discussion that we have until information is provided to us. Okay? We need to make sure that Dr. Rodolfich is treated fairly and make sure that these allegations are handled in a professional manner. Okay. So with that being said, I'll open the floor for any discussion, or if the board so chooses wants to make a motion of moving forward with recommendations of the HR director, I'll entertain that also, so.
I have a question. I didn't know if Dr. Rodolfich wanted to make a statement or we just.
I'll make a quick statement.
Okay.
So, this is the first time that I have been made aware that anyone in my office has an issue with my communication. And that occurred whenever we returned from spring break. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that I was not aware that anyone was offended by anything that I had said at any meeting prior to or during, because anyone that ever has been has come to my office and told me how they felt. And I think that's much more proactive way of communicating if you have an issue with something that I've done as superintendent. I think it's only fair to my family that I am given a fair opportunity when there has been no complaints levied against me at any point while I've been the superintendent here. There's no record of anything like that. And I do have a deep concern about the origin of these allegations and the hostility created towards me within my office as it relates to the people that are making these accusations towards me. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Rodolfich. Trustees, turn the meeting over to you.
Chair, I have a question too for HR, if I may ask.
Before you ask, we're not doing an investigation.
I understand.
Okay, so,
I understand.
okay.
I'm just curious, is this the only allegation or complaint we have?
There has been a total of 3 complaints filed altogether. 3 different employees.
Well, your recommendation is that we hire somebody that knows what they're doing. Is that so? Is it, I mean, nobody up here is an
I
employment.
think it's in the best interest of the board, the organization, and the employees to have someone impartial, and that specializes in employment law, to be fair and unbiased in this case.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everybody is, both sides are handled appropriately. No emotions, no thoughts, no opinions. Just the facts.
So LaQuanda, based on what you've said, you're recommending an administrative review by an outside entity specializing in labor and HR law. I would also like to add to that, it needs to be someone outside of Lake Wells.
Yeah.
That way it's totally clean, totally neutral. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I agree.
Okay.
Chair, I would go so far as say to someone outside of Polk County if we can.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is how I feel about the investigation, and I welcome the investigation. That's not an issue. The issue that I have is the ramifications to my 30-year professional career over one incident that is alleged to be an incident. I have a concern about one of the, apparently, one of the grievances here, that that agreement was part of your selection process. And I have a concern about just the fairness of what I'm enduring right now without having any forewarning from any of the people who have filed this grievance from HR who has been in place for the entire year. And I just want that to be a matter of record. I would also like for the board to review the HR activity as it relates to the grievance, because there is it's important to me that everyone understands I have a responsibility here to make sure that people come to work, that people come to work on time, and that we run an organization that is fair to taxpayers and fair to every other employee in our system. And our central office has to function at that high level so that we're an example. But I would like for you guys to review some of the background of some of the people who are filing these grievances as it relates to, my position on my responsibility as superintendent. And also that we have went through HR in every activity that we've done.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm most concerned about. Already, we're impugning my integrity in front of the public. I made that statement. Not only are you impugning my integrity, you're impugning my children, my wife's integrity over these claims. I have a different interpretation of that meeting that we had on that day. And when I look at what are the ramifications and what do we do to people here and what I've been through here, because when I took the job, I was notified while my wife and I were standing at Universal Studios, and my wife looks at me and she says, hey, the city council took a vote and they voted against welcoming our family to the community. Now, anybody that knows my children know they're fantastic little people. But my wife's heart continues to be crushed here, and all we do is try to help. And so what I'm saying to that is, I more than believe that I have earned the right to continue to do the work that I'm doing, because there are a lot of things, meetings that are coming up with different individuals, everything from doing traffic work at one of our elementary schools to meeting with other representatives and building opportunities for children. And the district can't afford this again, what we went through before. Can't afford it. And I will take the risk of me laying it out there on the line and doing all the work that's there. I have not had any intimate conversations with whomever are filing these grievances against me. I don't do things that way. I've met with 1,000 teachers this year that I've left cards to, thanking them for the great work that they do. I have people in my own office who are coming to me. And for me not to be trusted to do something that I've done for 19 years, and I have a spotless record in my career. You can research as far back as you want to. I have a pristine 3-decade record of working for children. And if I am overpassionate, I am overpassionate about the fact that our children deserve better than we've given them over the things that have occurred in this community in the last 3 years. And that is all my focus is, and it is where all of my passion is. So I believe that I've earned the right through the things that we've endured here to prove that, hey, you know what, you can beat us up, you can say things about us, but we're still going to keep working for the kids here. We don't know it any other way in the Rodolfich household. So I'd like to keep working for my kids. Well, I'll make then I will tell you that I will go in the office after hours at nighttime. But for me, not to be able to get into classrooms and visit with teachers, and not to be able to see our kids and encourage them and do home visits and all the things that we do, this is the most crucial time of the year for us whenever it comes to performance for children. And I don't think that children should be caught in the crossfire of this issue whenever we're capable of working through the issue.
I move that the board accepts Dr. Rodolfich's offer to work from home and continue with his school visits in our local schools so he can keep up the support of faculty and students while the review of the incidents go on.
Okay, so we have an amended motion on the floor. Do you second that motion, Tanya, with the amendment?
I do.
Okay, so now I have a motion and a second amended. Any other discussion, comments about the motion that's on the floor? No.
You're wrong.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Rodolfich for his commitment to the children and willing to come in after hours, work from home,
Yes.
to make sure that, this situation is the best it can be while we're going through this process. And LaQuanda, do you feel that that will be good for the employees that have filed the grievances under that scenario, that they will feel comfortable in coming into work and and everything as well?
I think it will suffice, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'd be supportive of the motion as well.
With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries.